can't get away from anything now on social media. Someone finds it. Shannon, how bad does this make LeBron look?
Doesn't make him look bad at all because it's a totally different situation. Remember now, March, the NBA had shut down. There was a pandemic, so they had played 65 games. So there were 17, 18, 19 games left. So basically they said, okay, we're going to resume the season, but it's going to be in a bubble environment. So now, here, Skip, I'm right there. So we're just going to go down there and play 5 games, 6 games? He said, hold on, wait a minute. If it's that close, why not just let those teams play each other? Therefore, that will decide it. That's a totally different situation. These games, there have been no games missed. Every team's going to play 72 games. You had 72 opportunities. That's totally different than having 82 games and having the season shut down. That's a totally different situation. So they took what he said about, okay, the season's been shut down. These games, there are 2 or 3 teams, 3 or 4 teams that are right there. Why not just let those teams play each other for a chance to go to the playoffs? Skip, this is all about money. You and I are both old enough to remember when the first round of the basketball playoffs was the best 2 out of 3. Mm-hmm. And the next round was the best 3 out of 5. It was. And only conference finals and finals was the best 4 out of 7. But they're like, wait a minute.
Well, heck, I'm old enough to remember when the finals was on tape delay.
It was.
Like at 11:30 at night.
Magic game was on tape delay.
Yeah. Yep.
That great finals he had his rookie season.
Yep.
So they're like, hold on, wait a minute. Why would we only do 3 games? We do 7, Skip, we could make a little bit more money. What do we see with the NFL, Skip? What if we add an extra playoff game? That's an extra game. That's extra revenue. What if we add an extra regular season game? Baseball, what did they do, Skip? They got this play in. So this ain't about no fun. This is about adding revenue. I get that. But if you look at what LeBron said when he said it versus right now, he's like, hold on. We're going to play 72 games in 145 days coming off the shortest rest season in the history of professional sports. And now you want guys to play more to have to get an opportunity to go to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I got no problem with what he said because once you get back and you look at it when he said it, because I thought the way they were portraying it, they made it seem like he said it yesterday. No, this was during the pandemic. And he's like, hold on, our season got cut short. There are some teams that's going to be very unfortunate because there was a lot of situations, Skip, they might not going to be playing each other. You see what the NFL did? They started having the divisional games at the end. So you got to play the Cowboys playing the Giants, Cowboys playing Washington, Eagles, things of that nature. Because what was happening, teams were resting. And it didn't mean anything. They said, no, we wanted to mean something week 16, week 17. We wanted to mean something. So I have no problem with LeBron said, once you go back and look at what he said, how he said it, the context in which he's trying to explain it, it makes perfect sense. The season was cut short by a pandemic. Teams that was like, hold on, man, we right there. We going to miss the playoff. We'd have played all these games. We might have could have caught them. He's like, well, just have them play each other. And that way we determine it. Now, ain't no pandemic. You played 72 games. You make it, you make it. If you don't, go home.
Mm. Okay, before I answer Jenny's question, I will tell you that there are 3 different LeBrons that we often talk about on the show. There's LeBron, just the basketball player, pure, simple, end of story.
Right.
I'm often critical of LeBron, just the basketball player, and I think sometimes you're not critical enough, but that's a whole nother issue. But that's that guy.
Right.
Then there's a LeBron who campaigns for racial justice in this country, and I never have anything critical to say about that guy because he is the best ever at that. Then there's a third LeBron hat that he has to wear as the face of the NBA.
Right.
And he almost is like an owner in the NBA. He has that much clout, that much impact. He doesn't often exercise that clout. Sometimes you see him sit back and say, we're doing what?
Right.
But it's a huge hat that he wears with huge responsibility because obviously when he speaks about this league, we listen.
Absolutely.
He's it. He's in year 18. So he's not in year 4 or 5 where he's still trying to figure out how it all works together. He's a full-grown man who is the biggest, brightest mind in this league. To me, it's beyond Adam Silver's mind, his ability to see and feel what works or doesn't work in this league. And I always want to know, what does he think in the end when they were in the bubble to play or not to play, any of those big decisions facing the league? I just want to know what he has to say. When they had that emergency meeting that was at a Friday night where they all convened back at the hotel after the Bucks had said, no, you know, we're not going to play.
Kenosha. Wasn't it a Kenosha situation?
Yeah, it was the Kenosha. And everybody they just waited for him to speak because whatever he said, and he wouldn't speak at the meeting, but he went back to his room. Remember, he didn't want to play.
Right.
He wanted to opt out the rest of the bubble, no more. And
they called President Obama, he and CP3.
They called him. They did. And a bunch of players reconvened at his hotel room, and then you know the rest of the story. Here they went. So in this case, to me, it was a sign of rare immaturity on his part. He was so frustrated, not just by his knee, but they just lost to two bad teams at home.
Correct.
Two bad teams playing without their stars at Staples, and they lost kind of miserably both games. And obviously he missed the last shot in the first game, and he had airballed a three. He was just frustrated. It wasn't working, and they looked kind of stuck in mud. The whole team looked stuck in mud, and you said, well, I'm not seeing his burst. He can't push off. So the frustration was at an all-time high post-championship for this team.
Right.
And Laker Nation is to hysteria levels. And so he just couldn't contain himself. And it's whoever came up with that should be fired, right?
Right.
And you can't say that because it worked. I don't care. He did have, I give him credit for the original idea. I get your point. The context was completely different. Right. I got you. You're exactly right. And I'm not going to, I'm giving him a pass for that. So I'm not going to hold his feet to the fire over what he said on road tripping
March 2020.
Okay, I got it. But the beauty of it was he's on to something.
Right.
It's great. It worked. It was captivating.
Right.
I liked it. I'm looking forward to it now. That's all we talk about. Who's in the play-in? Who's 10?
7 to 10.
Who's 9? Who's 7? Well, wait. They're about to fall into the play-in? It's fun. Is it fair? No, it's not really fair. Baseball's got it, too, where it's just like one. You play 162 to play one? Really?
Exactly. And I think that's the thing, Skip. It's like that got interrupted. You should have 82 games, 72 games. That should be enough game to determine who are the best 8 teams. I don't believe you need extra playing games. Now, you want to generate revenue, because that's what it is. If you can't determine, Skip, the NFL plays 16 games, plays 17 games now, to determine the best 17 that make the playoffs. They're not having say, well, you know, y'all went 500. So now we're going to have y'all two teams that play 500 to get another extra spot. That's not how you do it. 16 games, 17 now. 16 games was enough. 82 games was enough. 72 is enough to determine who are the best 8 teams. So LeBron has said that last year was a unique set of circumstances. But the NBA found out that they're on a unique set of circumstances. It's kind of like the income tax. They started taxing during war. Like, hold on. You mean to tell me we can put an income tax on you? You got to pay it, and it never went away. What a good idea. So now the NBA started something to try to, recoup some of that revenue in the bubble. And it's never going away. Unfortunately, LeBron, unfortunately, bro, I don't believe this is going to go away. Okay.
Is the NBA not an entertainment?
Yeah.
Is the play-in entertaining? Does it enhance the product?
Yeah.
Well, yes, it does. Are we going to talk about it on Undisputed? You better believe we are. We're not going to yawn at it. We're not going to ignore it. It's interesting.
But you do believe 72, 82 games is enough to determine the 8 best teams.
I got it, but I like the novel new concept. It doesn't bore me. It doesn't offend me. I'm good with it. And all the league needs is for somebody to come out of that 10 seed and start rising up and knocking teams off.
Well, you know what happened? NCAA started this bull jive when they had the play-in game. Because, Skip, remember, it was just 64. Oh, we got 64. I think they expanded the field in, 84, 85? They expanded to 64. Ooh, that's great. And then all of a sudden, the last 10 years, they got a play-in game. So we got one team, and then you get to stop it.
Yeah, but some of those teams I don't even know, and I don't care enough about it. But I do care about this.
UCLA was in the play-in, and they made it all.
That's what I'm saying. The NBA would need to validate the new premise. They would need one team to go far. But Skip,
in one game, you got to win 4 games to advance in a situation to go all the way to go to the NBA Finals, which I don't see that happening.
Obviously, after they lost to Sacramento, all of a sudden it became painfully aware to LeBron that, wait a second, we're in the mix for the play-in, and it's also possible we won't even make the playoffs if we continue at this rate. So he dismisses it, and yet, as a quasi-owner, he has to understand that the owners voted on this. Adam Silver voted on this unanimously. And I know Luka started he was the first one to break through and say, this is a bunch of baloney.
And then Mark Cuban backed him up, although he had voted for it.
And not only had he voted for it, he had actually campaigned publicly for it. But he said, I got to have the back of my star, and he had his back.
But Skip, as an owner, look, I'm sure there are things that Michael Jordan thought as a player that he thinks totally different now as an owner.
Yep,
So I think LeBron, we all know LeBron wants to be in ownership. So the way he's thinking now, I can assure you he's not going to think that way as a player. It's just like an employee. Once you think one way as an employee, but once you own your own business, you think your brother think an awful lot different as opposed to working for someone, as opposed to working for himself. Mm-hmm. So that's a big difference. But I agree with LeBron. I think this is a very different circumstance than what we had going on last year, March of 2020. Hopefully we don't have that anytime soon, ever. How about soon, ever again in my life. But for me, I don't have a problem with LeBron says. I get it. 72 games. Basically, they're playing a game every other day. They're going to play 72 games in 145 days.
Nobody has any sympathy.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.